Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me okay? We'll get started here so we can get out at a reasonable hour. How many of you have kids over at the gym family center tonight? Excellent. Please make sure that you thank Miss Murphy, Miss Ellie Murphy, and those high schoolers for doing that. Really awesome. So I'd like to start tonight, as we typically do, this has become a nice little tradition, with a toast. So if you have something in your glass, feel free to raise that. If you need to run over back to the table, you can fill the glass here. But I would like to make a toast this evening just to start off our State of the School to thinking, which isn't really an earth-shattering thing unless you're living in 2026. I don't know. Yeah, it's a wild world we live in. But this is a picture. I wanted to put this up here, and you'll see a word wall or a word web in a number of our school classrooms if you just walk the halls when you come to open house on Sunday. But this is in Miss Cintron's classroom. And thinking means connecting things, because everything is connected to everything else. And when we forget that, action is disconnected from virtue, or knowledge is disconnected from meaning, or faith is disconnected from community, it becomes a very, again, bizarre world. And when we remember that things are connected to each other, the world, again, has meaning. And when you look at some of these words up here, they seem disconnected. Spartan and tribute and achieve and democracy and mercy and philosopher. But if you stay in our school long enough, these kids will start to make some really profound connections about these things, these virtues. In second grade, they were also talking, they're struggling with math, is basically they're doing pre-algebra in second grade. But they're struggling, and they're having to ask deeper questions, and they're just racking their brain. They want to get to the meat of it. They're like, and this is what Socrates would be feeling right now. And that's thinking. That's thinking. And that's what we do here at St. Al's, just remembering that we're human and that thinking is a core element. I'd like to raise our glass to that, to you as human beings, to instilling thinking in your kids, and thinking by our teachers. Gagi Marjos, cheers. So how we're going to proceed this evening, I am recording, you're being recorded, the backs of your heads are being recorded. I will send out the recording tomorrow in the Angle. I'll include the slides in the Angle. If you've got another parent at home who couldn't see this, totally fine. They can just look at the slides too, and you can give them the 45-minute recap as well. But our agenda for the evening, we'll go through some just fun community news and highlights. We'll talk about MAP scores, everybody's favorite thing. We'll have school commission present briefly, or Eric Shadisky, our school commission chair, will present on our survey that we just did. Parents Club has an update with our fundraising and just where we're at and the momentum that we have. Nicole Maston will be presenting. Thank you, Nicole. And then our safety committee, she came in costume tonight, Olivia Racy, will be sharing about this new report that we just had done on campus, which was very comprehensive. We'll look at our tuition rates for next year, financial snapshot last year, and looking ahead a bit. Catholic Schools Week, we'll talk about enrollment. And if you haven't yet, sorry, I've got the daycare credit, so if I have to do that a couple times straight. Is Amy Wallace here? Amy has done an amazing job just getting our St. Al's brand out there, and we'd love to see more of you wearing our swag. So there's a little QR code with a few things on your table tonight, but please make sure to get some swag, because it's really awesome. Thank you, Amy. Okay, so a few things that are awesome. You may have known, maybe not, but we are back-to-back academic decathlon champions. This was from last spring, but we are doing full ahead with Miss Bender. She's leading that team. We have a couple parent volunteers, especially Ms. Cresser. Where is Ms. Cresser? Is she in here tonight? Thank you. Okay, she's been around every day when we've had our decathlon going on, preparing our kiddos for a three-peat. We also have a Fulbright scholar in our midst who just graduated from the University of Notre Dame. I got to teach her at Bishop Blanchette, but she's a St. Al's alum. She is doing her Fulbright in Germany right now. That is Sarah Van Hollebeck. That's her aunt's right over there. We got to be on an awesome Fulcrum podcast. If you haven't listened to that, no worries. But we're getting out in the community in a variety of different ways. Our school commission has been very helpful in setting us up to just be in the media, again, get the brand out there. And it was really awesome and special because we had two brand new teachers to St. Al's who just crushed it on that podcast like they've been here for a long time. Emma Min, our new middle school math teacher, and Miss Person, one of our new preschool teachers. They were on that podcast. It's a great listen if you haven't listened to that yet. We had Grand Day, and also really our first talent show that we've had here in a long time. We had basically a rock concert. We had baby sharks. We had everything. And most importantly, I think grandparents were happy. They got to go up into classrooms and visit. So thank you if your folks came out for that. That was a very special day for us and for your kiddos. Fun moment this fall. We also had our inaugural grades 2 through 4 Christmas production. I wish everyone could have been there. It was Ko Ho Ho, how the salmon saved Christmas. It was so heartwarming. And Mo Mershon, she agreed she'd love to do another one next year. So please put that in your calendars for mid-December next year. And it was we've got so many budding actors, actresses. St. Al's. It's supposed to be really great. And also, we're getting new theater curtains installed through the generosity of an awesome donor tomorrow. So we'll be ready to go for our barbecue and Hamlet production with a brand new curtain, which is great. And then finally, you walk through there, hopefully you saw all of your kids' stuff that they've left here. Their water bottles, their school sweatshirts, their really, really expensive ski jackets. They're all over there. They will be leaving our school on the 31st. Charlotte is making a Goodwill run. So if it's not picked up, or if something looks kind of nice and hasn't been picked up on the 31st, you're more than welcome. But anyways, our common's not just the lost and found. It's actually a really fabulous community space. And it's been cool to see many of you just stop by for conversation, for coffee. And it's become really a focal point of our school community. And when new families come in and they look at the wall, they look at the living history of our school, our current students, past students, it speaks to them that there's legacy here, but it's also a living and breathing organism. So to all of you who contributed to the Commons last Fund a Dream and painted walls and helped with quotes, all those things, it's made an enormous difference. So thank you. Okay, a few more things. You've probably heard about this a lot at this point, but it's very important to us. Our new preschool classroom, right beyond the Commons over there, it was just licensed for full day. I can't impart enough just how arduous of a process this is. And Sarah Delgado shepherded through from start to finish. So we're now ready to accept full day kids. And we've got a number who are starting in the beginning of February, which is just a great benefit to our school for enrollment, for bottom line, et cetera. But two fabulous teachers in there. So please tell your friends and families. We have a half-day option, which is very rare now in Seattle because everybody's doing full day. So we wanted to make sure we had a half-day option, but there's a full day will be tacked onto that too. Little update on the Wait Until 8th. If you remember, Wait Until 8th, we were the first Catholic school in Washington State to be officially registered for this. And this is where you as parents say, I'm going to wait until my kid's done with 8th grade. Should be called Wait Until 9th. But wait until they're done with 8th grade to give them a smartphone or smart device access to the internet. 64% of our families have signed that pledge. Vast majority, like preschool through 4th grade. So middle school is completely lost. But that's an amazing trend. Okay, and that's how, again, I've said this before, but this is how like culture changes. And I think we just want to support you as families for making those decisions at home. And if you have feedback for us, just how we can better implement here and manage technology, there's some good things that were put in that parent survey, which I will take into account. But I'd just love to hear from you. but it's a great thing going. We also launched summer daycare for preschool through Rising Kindergarten. And based on feedback last year, we were extending those hours until 5 p.m. just for those working families. I know we can't catch everyone with summer camps, summer care. It's hard to get staffing, but we can definitely provide that preschool through kindergarten. And that happens 10 weeks summer, Monday through Friday. So that's open to more than just St. Alex families. There's, I think, 10 spots went, for every day for the whole summer, like the first day. So we've got about half left. So if you haven't signed up yet, please do, because again, that's open to the public. We'll talk about our rising MAP scores in a second, but I do want to also just shout out our awesome middle school enrichment offerings. Again, small school, but vast resources because of you all. And some of these, if you're here, please wave, because you help put on these middle school enrichment offerings, which we do every Friday for the last 2 hours, because who wants to do like math and science on a Friday afternoon? But we kind of trick them, because a lot of these are doing math and science and other great things. So hands-on science is happening, digital music production, Python programming, Secret Society of Warp and Weft, fancy name for basket weaving. Theater movement is taught by Miss Mo Mershon, our drama director. Academic decathlon, again, Katie has been helping out with that. Acting 2, taught by Mo Mershon. Creative writing, I don't know if Kelly Clark is here, but she's doing a fabulous job. There's a lot of boys who are doing a lot of creative writing. It's awesome. Model UN, music appreciation, beekeeping with Maureen Endres, gardening with Chris Carnes, who's an alumni parent, vocal performance, Secret Society of Sculpture and Form, like that for a 70 kid middle school. There's some amazing offerings, and we'd like to just continue to add more each trimester. So thank you. Okay, math scores. Here's a lovely chart graph for you. So let me just explain high level. That top right quadrant is where you want to be. Okay, that's the high achievement, high growth. So that means you're above 50 percentile for growth and above 50th percentile for reading, or excuse me, for achievement and growth. So this was last year. We were in that high percentile for achievement and growth. For reading, we were just on the cusp for math, which is really good, because we already have kids who are the top of the ceiling. So to get them to keep growing is sometimes challenging. This year, okay, so from fall 24 to 25, we moved all the way up. So we inched up a little bit more in reading, and we broke into that next quadrant in math. That's just, again, a testament to hard work for our teachers, the year-over-year adjustments that we're making to curriculum, and hopefully, your kids come home and they're like, yeah, that was easy, like crush it. So we're in the middle of math testing right now. Again, I don't like to make a big deal about it. I don't like to write home and say, your kid must not do anything this week because we're doing math testing. Like, we want kids to be kids. They're going to do just fine. It's just a snapshot in time of their progress. But it is nice to celebrate when we do well. This shows from fall 2025, just us in comparison to the archdiocese in general. So this is for reading, and then the green, the sad national average. Our kids are head and shoulders above their public school peers at least. And again, like I said, they're not just staying there; they are growing because teachers are pushing them. We have academic rigor that's happening, and we talk about growth all the time, growth mindset in our classrooms. This is math too, and I've been particularly impressed with that movement in math. We've had some teachers go to some workshops, come back and talk to us about how we can improve. I think we're really dialed in on the middle school floor too with math, and our walk to math programs, we're pushing those high flyers as well. That's a unique thing that many schools just don't offer anymore. So that's really awesome. Okay, I'm gonna pivot slightly here. Eric's gonna make his way up, but our school commission, they do so much behind the scenes work. Sometimes it's too behind the scenes, and I acknowledge that. Like, who the heck are these people and what do they do for our school? I just want to call them out here really quick. Eric is our school commission chair. Pete Noble is traveling tonight. His wife Beth is here, who's our Jogathon mastermind. Where's Beth? Oh, right in front of me. There she is. Kara is our treasurer. Where's Kara? Thank you, Kara. Adiola Mead is our secretary. Chris Hanzelli is sitting back there, veteran on our school commission. Kurt Racy, I don't know if Kurt's here tonight, but I see Olivia back there. Joe Brown is sitting right here, first year on our school commission. And Dave Madsen is our parish representative, former classics professor at Seattle U, who has given us some great insight the last couple of years. But I'm going to turn it over to Eric, and he's just going to walk us through kind of a high level of our parent survey.
Great, thank you, Nick. Thanks to everyone for being here tonight. I know it's hard to get out as a parent. Appreciate everyone building community being here today. Just want to take a quick minute on the school commission, kind of zoom out a little bit on the work that we do. Besides, you'll see those faces up on the screen. Hopefully you see them at Chop Off and Pick Up, at Jogathon and Bingo Night. And, you count them among your friends. What we have achieved as a school commission is to be appointed to a 3-year term on the commission board, and we serve Nick and Father Parish in an advisory capacity. As part of that, our work is to be a sounding board to secure and help inform the mission of St. Al's, particularly around the growth and sustainability of St. Al's. So that's the work that we do. If you have questions or you have any ideas about how to continue to grow St. Al's, we're all here as resources. We all want to listen, so please feel free to approach us. After the presentation, I'm going to talk about metrics. And before you fall asleep, as I get to this, I want to tell you something that no one has ever said before. If you're in the grocery store and someone asks you, tell me a little bit about St. Al's, and I'm really interested in how you feel about St. Al's, your response will never be 9.22 and rising. That's what we see when we look at metrics. But what I think is important is that that's a reflection of us as a community. We see that, and we've been now taking the survey for a few years, so we have just metrics, but trend lines. So who doesn't like that? But the issue that it is those are numbers. St. Al's isn't a number. It's a parent knowing your kid's name. It's you being able to say hi to a friend across the parking lot during drop off. Like that's St. Al's. So it's not the number, but it's that emotional feel. But this is our best way to really use metrics, to look in the mirror in an unvarnished way without an Instagram filter and really get a sense of who we are now. So we'll go through some of those numbers, but as we look at those numbers, what you see on the screen isn't what you feel about St. Al's, let us know, because that's really important. We want to make sure that there's a connect there, because this is how the St. Al's community sees itself. So let's take a look at that first number. This is Net Promoter Score, which some of you might be familiar with. What happens is you're asked a question, 1 through 10, how do you feel about St. Al's? 9 and 10s are all that Net Promoter Score cares about. That means that you're willing to, according to the theory, evangelize on the behalf of St. Al's. And that's what we really want. And we scored very well. If you put 7, would you still say nice things? Yeah, probably. And we got all of those. So we're doing very well, better than Apple, and better than last year. So we're really seeing that is something that people are coming around about, and there's reasons for that. I think we've done a good job of listening. I think we're seeing ourselves reflected in the student body, and that number is on the rise. So anything above 50 is amazing, and we're far above that. So how you can action on that is to evangelize St. Al's, to talk about St. Al's. It doesn't have to be oppressive. It doesn't have to be bothersome, but it should be something that is top of mind for you, that is that conversation in the grocery store. And that's what we like to see. And according to the data, we're seeing a lot of people who would count themselves among promoters.
I was wondering about the big dip in responses in the last year, almost 30% of those 20.
Yeah, how would you answer that question? No, I think we did another survey at the start of the year, which normally we don't do. We had to do that for accreditation. There may have been a little bit of survey fatigue. So noted, Lane, you do have a dip in responses. So again, to Eric's point, if you feel like your voice is not captured in that Net Promoter Score sentiment, please just come and talk to me, and then I'd love to use that conversation about where you're at.
Yeah, good comments. All right, well, we're also seeing from year over year, if you look at your screens, what people really agree with and strongly agree, and this is stack rank, but it's really the curriculum that is a big driver for us. We saw a big rise there, as well as a nearly 10% point climb in a sense of very challenging academic coursework and preparing our students for higher education. So where we have some growth opportunities is around the spiritual side, helping develop an appetite for the divine, as well as, although we did note, beekeeping's among them, the extracurriculars activities are there, but could we have more and more on-point activities? Absolutely. So look forward to exploring that the year ahead. And then real quick wrap up on that. Oh, the differentiators. So this is important. So this is why we're at St. Al's. There's a small class size. Your kids know the other kids in class. You as parents know the other parents in class. That ranked number one in terms of what people strongly identify as a differentiator between us and other schools. Single-sex classes in 7th and 8th grade, also something that people saw a lot of value in, saw as the biggest differentiator because it is, we're among the only to have that. And then what I really thought is great and I appreciate is that we also talk to math. And something I just learned recently that could come in as a strong 7 is that we do have a greenhouse. And but we have access to that. That's part of the differentiator for us. So just wrapping up some of this. I think what will be important for us is to continue the march forward, listen and learn from everyone here. Again, appreciate everyone being here, supporting St. Al's. And as you're thinking about this, you think about differentiators, as you're thinking about St. Al's, if you have questions or thoughts, please come see me afterwards. As someone who came out of Wisconsin, I'll be found at the cheese tray afterwards. So, thank you very much.
There was one more, there was another topical question on the survey about our mission and vision statement, and I wanted to just review that with you as well. We are, again, in an accreditation cycle. We do that every 6 years, and part of that process is we have to review our mission and vision statement. Does it actually reflect who and what we are at St. Alphonsus? And I tried to make abundantly clear in the survey, this is a proposal. It's not gonna everyone's a great wordsmith over here, but that was not necessarily the reason for the survey. We got some fabulous feedback on it. If you weren't able to see the survey, let me just read to you some of these proposed mission and vision statements, and then I'll get into just how you thought about it. So mission, St. Al's is an excellent Catholic school that partners with families to grow in knowledge, virtue, and faith. Okay, pretty straightforward. Vision statement, St. Al's will be Seattle's leading Catholic school that frees young minds and hearts to pursue Christ. We form graduates who, 1, know truth. They engage with rich content to understand reality and ask deeper questions. Okay, kind of that knowledge piece. 2, they choose goodness. They act with courage, courtesy, self-control, all those virtues. And 3, they seek beauty. They grow with God in a variety of ways: prayer, art, service, sacraments, and creation. Okay, and that motto, Versa Alto, to the heights. So I wanted to just see, how does this sit with you? And here's what you said. So for overall resonance, do these statements reflect the values and direction? 89% of you said agree or strongly agree. Okay, that's a lot there. And again, I really appreciate the feedback from people who said, this is why it doesn't sit well. And I will definitely take that into account with our school commission as well as Father Parish. Is it clear? 86% of you said agree, strongly agree. Does it align with the experience? 83%. So some things that really stood out in terms of positives was you like the partnership with families. Maybe that doesn't happen in maybe some of the neighborhood schools that you see, but we want to stand with you shoulder to shoulder as parents and just communicate, collaborate, the volunteer to thank you, that is a two-way street. It's clear on what we're trying to do here with our Catholic identity and mission. The pillars of knowledge, virtue, and faith seem to resonate. That's what we talk about on a daily basis. If you're ever here for morning announcements, I hope that comes out pretty clearly. Some negatives, and these were super well worded in these responses, but how can we express that we are inclusive? You know, given our demographics of Ballard, how can we really make sure that that Catholic identity is indeed Catholic being universal, that everyone here can find a place? How can we better reflect that in our mission statement? There's a lot of talk about the word excellent. I get it. That is one thing that we have to be excellent in everything that we do. Academics, faith, extracurriculars, instruction, curriculum. You know, that's just kind of a gold standard, really boring word. We can work on that. And then lastly, because, you know, we are crushing it with our MAP scores, because our kids are growing, how can we really communicate to our community that we do value academic rigor? There's also support, but there's rigor. And there's a lot of people that have said, like, how about this classical approach? Back to the very beginning toast, right? Thinking is connecting things. That's precisely what classical education is. We're doing it, we're just not calling it that yet, but maybe that's kind of a branding direction that we need to go in. So that is a greater discussion with our school commission, Father Parish, the Archdiocese. But that was something that said, if we can name that, perhaps that would be very helpful for us. I'll pause. Any final thoughts just on survey questions? Invite Nicole to come up for Parents Club.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nicole Maston. I'm honored to be up here representing the Parents Club, which is effectively all of you as part of this community and parents engaging in the fundraising activities and connecting with the school in the ways we do. We have a first grader named Holly in school here. We also have a junior in high school and a first year in university. So in addition to myself, there are 4 other amazing women that make up the executive board. Steph, Michelle, Jenna, and our new interim secretary, Anna. This makes up the board. We have 2 positions that will be rotating out at the end of the year, and that is vice president, Michelle and Jenna. So if anybody is interested in joining the board and helping to shape the activities, the fundraising, all of the things associated with what the Parent Club does, see myself or any of the other women on the board right now. But in addition to these 5 people, there's a whole team of parents, all of you out here who stand up and say yes to so many events throughout the year. And none of what we do or none of what this fundraising group does could be possible without any of you. So we want to acknowledge the leaders and the chair people of all of our most important events throughout the year. Jogathon, Trunk or Treat, Bingo, Holiday Hoopla, the online Spiritware store, Multicultural Night. These are the things that are coming up in the balance of the year. Multicultural Night, Junior Olympics, Parent Appreciation. So just raise your hands if you are here and just let's acknowledge and thank all of the chair people that are really doing all of the work behind the scenes. From a fundraising perspective, we are pacing ahead of the forecast. We have a $125,000 stretch goal for the year. Our current pacing is $48,000, the bulk of which came from Jogathon in the fall, which over exceeded our forecast. And we have a full year forecast right now. We're pacing at 134. The balance of that is really coming from auction. I know you've heard a lot about auction over the last couple of weeks. It is February 7th, and if you don't have your tickets yet, there are QR codes on the table, so help yourselves. Come join us. We'll do a little bit of an auction update, but it is rocking this year. Auction has been a lot of fun to work on and to work with such a broad team. And so we really expect that number to even increase above and beyond what our forecast is so far. But Jogathon rocked it. It brought in $40,000. Trunk or Treat, which isn't really a fundraiser, it's much more of a community event, brought in $1,500. Bingo, we've had 2 events of our 5 so far this year. brought in a couple $1,000s, and we just now launched the online spirit store, thanks to Amy Wallace, and that's brought in close to 1,000 just as of a month ago or so. So, again, not a fundraiser, but something that contributes to the fundraising goals. And then in terms of auction, so far, and this number is even updated as of this morning, it's 164 tickets sold. We have a goal of 200 by the end of Monday. So tickets will stay open, will stay for sale until Monday. And that is, I think, a very achievable goal based on the momentum that we're seeing and the response from the community. Just for perspective, last year, the auction sold, there were about 114 people in seats. So this is a tremendous increase, about a 50% increase over last year, thanks to all of you, and thanks to extending the auction and the auction promotion outside our community. So thank you for that. And then this is just a nod to all of the people that are working day in and day out. Auction planning started in, I think, September. And everybody on the screen has been working diligently on the auction throughout that time. So a round of applause for all of the folks. Thank you to the community. I mean, the generosity and the support that this community gives, it just is absolutely incredible. So this is all thanks to you, to every single one of you for showing up, for pitching in, for standing up, for opening your wallets, and for giving your time, your talent, and your treasure. Thank you.
Okay, I'm now gonna invite Olivia Racy to come up and talk about our safety committee. And as I announced maybe a month or so ago, we invited Mr. Gregory Allen to come on campus. He spent about 2 weeks here. He's a former Green Beret. He's kind of shifted his career into doing vulnerability assessments for schools. He's done these all over the Puget Sound area, and we're fortunate enough to work with him, thanks to Olivia kind of finding him. And he gave us an extremely comprehensive report, and we've been kind of working with him to distill that down into some actionable items. But this was kind of born out of, you know, we want to be proactive in how we operate here in our neighborhood, also preventative, and you know, also caring to you all, to our community members, and that's a sticky thing sometimes, as you know, living and driving through Ballard. So I'm very grateful for this committee that has a lot of sensitivity, just a lot of wisdom, and that's been headed by Olivia Racy. So thank you.
Thank you, Nick. As Nick mentioned, fortunately, I am not here to talk about safety because something has gone horribly wrong, right? We're not in an unsafe environment at all. We believe on the safety committee that we need to be proactive, thoughtful, transparent in everything that's going on the campus. So, and I know for every parent in the room, safety for your child is your #1 priority. So as Nick mentioned, in December 2024, we commissioned a special safety assessment, a safety audit. We used Greg Allen from Highlander 6. You probably saw him roaming around the campus the first couple of weeks of December. And he works with a lot of other private schools in the Seattle area, especially Catholic schools. We did this for 2 reasons. 1, we wanted to be proactive about safety, and 2, we want to apply for some federal safety grants that are available to us. And the precursor to that is really doing one of these safety audits or safety assessments. So anybody who's been through an audit or an assessment before understands how unnerving it can be. You're really opening yourself up to vulnerability. But it really gave us a gift. It brought forward some ways that we can bring the campus up to the next level. So I'm going to go through just a couple of the findings here. As Nick said, it was a comprehensive report. So if you want more details, you can find me and I can elaborate after the meeting. So first off, the Montessori room. Our beautiful glass windows in the Montessori room they're beautiful. The consultant suggested that we cover them with a security or privacy film to make them more durable, to offer more security in the space. He also suggested automated blinds that go up and down so we can close the room down when the kids are napping or when school's not in session. And this is just gonna secure the physical space while still offering us the open air and the freedom that we enjoy in that room. So second off, we were encouraged to update and improve our video surveillance and our cameras on campus. So we've got the campus fully covered, but there's a few that need to be upgraded. There's a few that need to be repositioned. There's a few that we could add just to offer more comprehensive view of what's going on campus. Third, and this is the big one, the assessment identified a need for updates to the fencing and perimeter security. This includes fencing and signage. So we already have a fence. The consultant suggested that we put enclosure gates where in the places where all the fence is open, the fence needs to be repaired in some spots. And he also suggested potential digitalization of the vehicle entry gates that we have in the parking lot. I mean, this is just simply to ensure that we have a more clear boundary for the fence, for our property line. So anybody who's on campus, we know that they're there for a reason, especially during school hours. Fourth, so the doors are securely locked all day long when school is in session. The consultant identified or recommended secure controlled access at the north preschool entrance over here, similar to what we have at the south preschool entrance. Right now, what happens is the staff, the teachers and the after school staff, they run back and forth from the classroom while they're caring for the children. It's a juggling act. Anybody who's been a parent tried to buzz in, you totally understand where I'm coming from on that. You know what they're going through. Fifth, pick up and drop off procedures. The consultant suggested we make an update to our pick up and drop off procedures, making sure there's a clear line between vehicle traffic and pedestrian traffic. Right now, we've got cars moving in and out, we've got kids and parents running around, and ultimately this is just going to take some time putting pen to paper to put a new procedure together, and hopefully this is low-hanging fruit. It's not a capital project. It's going to be free. It's just going to take some procedure writing. Sixth, he suggested revisions to general maintenance concerns. These are the kind of maintenance issues that you see in a very well-loved, well-used campus over the years. These are things like making sure the doors work, making sure lighting is in place, making sure things that have significant wear and tear, they're replaced over time. Again, the issues are not dramatic, but the little fixes are going to make for a safer environment over time. And we can use our maintenance staff that we already have. Seventh, access control procedures for the church and the school. This is things like making sure the doors are secured and locked during school mass. It's hard because we have a beautiful campus, we have a beautiful church, we want people to come in, we want people to celebrate math. But it's been suggested by the consultant that as soon as the teachers and the students are in the church to celebrate math, we lock any and all the doors, not just the doors in the back, but all the doors all the way around the church. 8, update to emergency procedures and protocols. So this is documentation, training, communication, update of emergency supplies. So if something unexpected happens, we can respond appropriately, calmly, and clearly and with confidence, just to make sure that the kids have what they need. And in the event we're not able to get back to pick them up in like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days. And I know this is going to take some procedure writing, and overhaul. Fortunately, there are some resources available in the Archdiocese for this, and King County Emergency Management. If you've ever worked with them, they've got some great resources online. 9th, and finally, safety culture awareness. So we've been operating in Ballard for a very long time, well over 100 years. And when someplace feels like home, and St. Al's definitely feels like home, I know to me, it's easy to just think everything is going to be okay, everything is fine. But many of us have seen the city change over time. We've seen the community change. We've seen Ballard change. And this finding invites us to just be more alert and be more aware. So if you see something, say something. A really easy way to do this and to help us out is to download the Find It, Fix It app. If anybody's ever done that, the City of Seattle has a Find It, Fix It app. It's a really easy way to be a good steward to the school and to your neighborhood. So, as you can see, none of these findings, screen, emergency or the fact that we're unsafe. We asked for a comprehensive report and we got one. I think it's actually something to be proud of. And, thank you to Nick for, seeing the vision for the growth that we have on campus. And really being able to open us up so we can understand and, uncover these vulnerabilities. So let's just talk really quickly about moving forward. Several of the recommendations we can handle at no cost. Procedure writings, things like that, access to King County Emergency Management, the Archdiocese. I mean, we can handle that and we'll get on those right away. But the other items are really going to require project management, expertise, time, and yes, funding. So thankfully, as mentioned, the safety committee has identified some safety and security grants that we're going to be applying for. There's actually a couple out there, some federal ones, some local ones that even focus on religiously affiliated entities. We're going to apply for all of them. As you can imagine, these grants are quite popular. We're expecting an uptick in organizations applying for these grants this year, especially in the Archdiocese. I was just at the Chancery today, talking with the Finance Committee and the Legal Committee, and they have just been buzzed with requests on how do they apply for these grant applications. So we've got some really great writers on our safety committee. We're going to apply for the grants, but there is no guarantee that we are going to win one of these grants in the next 12 months. So if you are interested in getting involved in one of these projects, if you're interested in safety committee, if you're a contractor, if you know a contractor, maybe you know a fencing contractor, I would really, maybe you can fund one of these projects in whole or in part. I would encourage you to reach out to Nick. It's really easy to get some time on his calendar, and I would suggest trying to do it before mid-February if you can, because he's going to get pretty busy around that time. So thank you for your ears on safety for the school and safety committee tonight. I just think it's really important for us as parents to know about these safety projects that we have in the hopper, and what it takes to get involved and how we can make a difference. Because when you give towards something like school safety, you're not giving out of an obligation or fear or to increase your social status within the community. You're really giving out love and for the protection of our children. And we're trying to build the kind of environment where these kids can run around carelessly on the playground. They can focus 100% of their time on learning and figuring out how to build friendships. And so I really, really appreciate the time to talk about safety. Thank you again for the investment in this process, and please reach out to Nick. Thank you.
So the last thing I want is to, again, get this comprehensive report and sit on it and just say, hey, we're just gonna apply for grants and we may or may not get them, and it's gonna be 3 years. Like, that's not the approach we're gonna take. Some of the, we can rank these needs kind of low, medium, high, and the high ones we want to get done ASAP. So that might be a little sneak peek of auction stuff, but safety should be sexy. We need it. So stay tuned on that. But again, thank you, safety committee. I see a number of you here for bringing that forward. Okay, we're gonna kind of shift gears and we're gonna head into more of the finance section. But it's first helpful to know where are we at with enrollment. It's probably the most common question I get. As of today, we're at 182 students and growing. Ms. Murphy was telling me we're gonna have 3 more starting in February. We got more in the queue. We've got inquiries coming in, which is great. But as of today, we've got 182 students. We've had 8 transfer students this year. And let me tell you, the transfer students, I see a number of those families who've transferred in. I can basically guarantee that they would be I'm going to speak for some of them. I think you're at a 10 out of 10 on your St. Al's experience so far. And the reason why I say that is because when kids come in, they instantly feel just a sense of belonging. The teacher's like, heck yeah, we're going to get you in right where you need to be and figure that out and just move along. So if you've got friends, family members who are at schools and they're they're not at 10 out of 10, please have them just come by for a tour or shadow day. I can't tell you how many times, even before the kid gets into the car, like, well, that's way better than my current school, Mom. We hear that a lot, so we just need to get you in the door. Preschool right now, 44 students and growing. We have capacity now for 55 preschoolers, which is amazing. Love to have that chock full next year and close to by the end of the school year. In K to 8, we're sitting at 138 students. Again, some other demographic numbers. We're 51% Catholic. We're by far probably, that's probably the lowest percentage of our regional Catholic schools around us. I think that's just where we're at in this neighborhood of Ballard, which is totally fine. It's actually, I love it because it's just an opportunity to just wow people, meet them again where they're at, and surprise them with joy. 40% of our students are students of color. Again, that's probably the highest in even compared to public schools around here. Definitely our Catholic schools in the region. And again, Catholic Universal, we want everyone. 15 zip codes. We pull from a lot of places, and St. Al's should more and more become a destination. So that zip code number should continue to go up as well. We love having families who are walking to school. Great, but and with I-5 closing down, just tell them, you get on 15, it's a much better experience. Hard to believe. Okay. I want to recap a little bit from last State of the School, just to jog your memory, like how we got to tonight. So for tuition, last year we presented tuition increases, which were not insignificant, but I'm very appreciative because I think many people understood kind of the reason why we got there. So last year it was 7.7% increase for in-parish, 8.3% increase for out-of-parish. In that, we said we're doing a 3-year plan. So that last year was the first year, this is the second year, next year will be the final year, and then we have to kind of reassess. And that's to get us to a balanced budget. That's to get us competitive with North Seattle Catholic schools. When you're at the bottom third, we have to look at our value and say, where are we and how can we, again, make sure teachers are getting paid fairly. There's a lot of factors in that, but that tuition increase will be the same for next year. 7.7 for in-parish, 8.3 for out-of-parish, and it's 8.3% for preschool. Again, which puts us right in that competitive market space with everyone else. Discounts, last year we looked at thoroughly. We adjusted our sibling discounts. We did remove out-of-parish sibling discounts because no other Catholic school around here was doing out-of-parish discounts. Again, we want to support families. We're the only Catholic school, I love to say, that gives that fourth child is free, whether you're in parish or out of parish. So we will continue to honor that. But again, this is just for us to remain competitive and providing the best product that we can. Teacher salaries. This is just a point of celebration. Last year, we increased from 83% of Seattle base salaries, and that's using the prior year scale. So we have a year to figure out what SPS did, and then we can kind of catch up. So teachers already knocked down a couple of rungs, but we moved up from 83% to 90%, and we plan to sustain that. But, we should be at, 100% of SPS base. And we should really be at 100% of SPS total, which is even higher. But we have to start somewhere. And again, the tuition increases were to honor the hard work that our teachers do day in and day out. Our net income last year, okay, so we forecasted the state of the school, we had a $213,000 loss last year, okay? I know that's a big, scary number. We talked about all the factors why. We talked about how we received PPP loans that were realized over the years. We talked about changes to subsidies. We talked about a number of things that kind of got us there. Decreasing enrollment during COVID, tuition freezes during COVID, that kind of put us in a hole. We finished the year better, okay, still in the red, but 154. And that's because we brought in some additional transfer students, which was very, very helpful, and that will continue to help us this year. Transfers really help that bottom line, obviously, and they have a great experience. So 24-25, again, this is last school year. Just so you know, and I know there's a lot of numbers up here, but tuition fees make up about 70% of our school revenue. And we still receive a parish subsidy from the parish, and that's $75,000. That may be going away, we don't know, and we can't really count on that, but that's been a very generous thing that we've been able to, a great partnership with our parish over time. Grants and donations, we had some very generous gifts last year, so that was probably a little bit higher than we were expecting as well. Fundraising, Parents Club did an amazing job last year, and so that includes annual fund, that includes auction, chocolate fund. So total revenue took us to about 2.48 million. On the expense side, okay, salaries, we'd like salaries to be as close to tuition and fees as possible. You'll see that salaries and benefits are greater than tuition fees. Again, we'd like that to be about a 1-to-1 ratio, not quite there. Facilities were especially high last year with some big projects like boilers and some unexpected maintenance expenses, but things you have to do just to operate the school. Total expenses came out to be about 2.63 million for, again, that net income number of a loss of 154. Better than our forecast, at least. This year, just where we're at. Currently, we're $48,000 in the positive, which is great. Some of that is from, tuition revenue that is collected upfront. Last year, we were forecasting a $119,000 loss. This year, again, that's catching up with our tuition and projected next year to have a balanced budget. We've got a lot of work to do. We'll talk about that in a moment, just with enrollment. But that was our forecast from last year, and we're just representing that information for you tonight, just to know where we're at. So for tuition next year, again, I mentioned 7.7% for in-parish, 8.3% for out-of-parish. So this is where we fall. I will make sure that is updated on our school website. We'll be doing our re-enrollment rollout, so you'll see those numbers there for child free. And you'll also notice that we are no longer offering 3-day preschool. We talked a lot about this with our leadership. Again, it didn't make sense from a market competition standpoint, and just we felt like we were able to offer a stronger program for 5 days. So that was a move that we had to make for this year. But again, that's kind of in keeping with what our other schools in our area are also doing. So that's an adjustment for next year. We will still be one of the only schools, though, that is offering half day. We will continue to do that, because I know we've got several families who rely on that, which is great. The only new fee that we're adding for next year, all the fees are staying the same, except we are adding a 6th grade environmental education camp fee of $200. And that's a great rate for 3 nights in the woods. You don't get to see them, it's $200. We have done some fundraising for this in the past. Based on parent feedback over the last couple of years, we're going to transition to just charging that up front, which will just free up your time and energy to invest in some other things in the school. If you need assistance at all with that fee, or really any fee, tuition, etc., you should know that you're always welcome to come and talk to me. We will make St. Alphonsus education work for your family. We want to make sure that it's accessible to all of you always. So whatever we need to do to get you here, keep you here, we will make that happen. But that's the only new fee next year for 6th grade. This cost to educate number is also something that we talk about. Cost to educate simply means it can be a little bit more nuanced, but from a high level, it's the total number of your expenses divided by your number of students. So we're going to conservatively assume that we're at 185 students next year, and forecasted expenses is going to take us to the cost to educate per student of $16,000. The average tuition and fees that we collect per student, so that's after financial aid that is given out, that's after discounts, comes out to be about $12,000. So the gap is what, we ask on the enrollment contract in any way that you can help chip away at it. Some of you just say, yeah, I can pay that gap, which is absolutely fabulous. Some of you pay it for 2 students, even better. And it's just a gift, whatever you can do for us. We have been really knocking it out of the park with our annual fund, raising anywhere from $125,000 to $150,000 every year for that. And for a school our size, I think that's outsized in just what we're able to generate from the annual fund. So you'll see that option to give that amount on your new enrollment contract. Again, whatever is comfortable for your family, again, that fair share concept. You might give more in terms of time, volunteer effort than on the financial side. Maybe you have more in terms of the financial side that you can offer and less on time. That's for you to discern as a family for how you can best close that gap for our school. So we use this kind of term in our school commission, this road to 240. Think of 240 as our maximum enrollment capacity. I was just at a regional principal meeting, and for schools our size with 1 class per grade, 240 is the sweet spot. Most schools our size with the number of grades are at 240 to 300. And we are too good of a school to not have 20, 40, 60, 80 more kids here. From what you've heard tonight, from the investment that you all make here, the investment that all of these volunteers make here to just have a fabulous school, right? This is an amazing school. We deserve to have kids who are just enriched by this education. We deserve it. And yeah, Nate, push.
I was wondering, would that class size to be about 27?
It would be closer to 27. However, you get closer to 27, you start to be able to add things like teacher assistants, and you keep the ratio still the same. When you have a class size of 11, difficult to justify having another teacher assistant in there. And moving from 11 students to 15 students to 20 students, probably not going to have a major impact on the experience of that classroom. Yeah, it is probably going to change a little bit when you get to 27. We cap at 24, that's what we say. We'd love to cap at 24. But I would love to have that conversation with you in 2 years, and then we can figure that out. Okay. But how to get there? I mean, this again is really where I invite you to come and talk to me. I sent an email to every single new family the start of the school year. I think I did this last year too, but hey, come and get coffee with me. I just want to get to know you on a personal basis, why you chose St. Alphonsus. A number of you took me up on that. If you haven't yet, please do. But it helps me just to know just the pulse and maybe why you chose us versus your other school that you were at. And I like to think that I listen and try and make some adjustments, and we need to, because if we don't adjust, we're dying. The digital campaign with the marketing agency we just launched, we're actually launching tomorrow. So I don't know if hopefully that pops up on a news feed of yours or someone else's news feed, but we're going to try and do some SEO marketing that way. We're going to be doing, our word of mouth marketing, again, is probably the number one way that we get referrals. Please log those referrals too. You get a month tuition credit if you bring in a new family. Just check in the main office. There's a form for you to fill out. We just want that to snowball. So if you'd like to take advantage of that, please do. There's some awesome yard signs. Can't tell you how many families come in and say, yeah, I saw a yard sign. So they work, they're effective. I've got 2 in my yard. One is for preschool. What's that? If you don't have a yard, put it in your window. Put it in the back of your car. There are ways to go about it. Put it in your grocery cart. Niche reviews. This is actually something that we've done pretty well in, and a lot of families do discover us on Niche. Google no longer does reviews for schools. There's probably some good reasons for that, but all of our awesome Google reviews went bye-bye, as did everyone else's. So Niche is now the platform where parents go to get, an insider scoop into the school. If you can leave us a review on there, it just gets eyeballs. And the last kind of thing I'll mention here, this road to 240, this is not a great analogy, but I live in Greenwood. I live next to Fred Meyer. There's Trader Joe's over there now. There's Safeway. There's QFC on Holman Road. Like, it's a saturated market for grocery stores. It's a saturated market for Catholic schools in North Seattle. Like, there are at least 5 within a 5-mile radius of us, okay? And 10 than a 10-mile. That's a lot for a city that is not very Catholic. And we have to really do something distinctive with our branding, like Trader Joe's, because the Trader Joe's really shouldn't, or a grocery store shouldn't exist right next to Fred Meyer. Like it just feasibility wise would not work. But it does because their offering is unique, because you're going to get something different when you go in there. And we have to be able to position ourselves, St. Al's, as something that's unique, a Trader Joe's experience, a small batch education, whatever you want to call it, okay? Where people, again, it becomes a destination rather than just, well, this is a default school and, I guess I walk by it and who knows here. Like, people have to intentionally choose St. Al's because there's something special about it. So that's on my end, that's school commission, that's Father Parish to be able to say, this is our distinctive brand. We have some really good thoughts on what that is based on survey feedback and continued discernment. And it's launch time for us. We must, I can't emphasize this enough. We need to get to 200 students next year. Again, we're at 180 right now. That $154,000 gap, that's 15 kids, okay? $200,000 gap, that's 20 kids. We need to start ticking that off. And I don't like to talk about like butts and seats. Those are like hearts and minds and souls and seats that need to be at St. Alphonsus. They need to be at St. Alphonsus because this is the best thing that the city offers. And we have to collectively believe in that. Really do. So Eric talked about evangelization, kind of a scary word, I get it. But you need to believe enough to just be able to make that awkward, like, when you're pushing your kid on the swing, that's me right now. Like, so where's your kid gonna graduate? I have a lot of those conversations. So whatever you got to do to get there. Okay, a couple tactical things. Re-enrollment deadline will be February 20th. Ms. Murphy is working on getting all that enrollment stuff locked up. Probably by the end of next week, we'll be able to open re-enrollment. You'll get plenty of messaging on where to click and get links and everything. That's on the final site parent portal. And we're here to walk you through that. Please, for a forecasting perspective from us, please fill that out by the 20th. I wish I could say your spot's gonna be gone. Maybe. But it just really helps if you get that done by February 20th. The only thing due, I think this was last year, and I think make that the same, is the enrollment fee, the re-enrollment fee, $250 fee. I think you can have the option to pay up front if you'd like, but I think the only thing we collect at that deadline is the enrollment fee.
Yeah, per family.
Yeah, per family. Catholic Schools Week, again, this is a Miss Murphy thing, but love to invite you all to our family mass on Sunday, 9 a.m. We're at St. Alphonsus. This is also the mass where we give out the Seton Award. And this is what this is like our Teacher of the Year, Staff Member of the Year. It's a very special time to just be able to give that out. And then immediately after mass, we'll come back into the Commons, not the Family Center, and we'll have coffee and donuts, and your kids are just going to be running around like banshees. So I'm going to ask you, we're going to have some prospective families here, like have them say hello and maybe like 4 donuts instead of 7. Whatever they need to do, but that will be again happening here, and we're having a lot of tours going on, and it's just a great way to put the St. Al's face on as well. So love to have you be an ambassador for that. Dress days next week. Monday, Wild Wild West Day. Please don't go out and buy anything for that. If you just put your kid on with a bandana or some jeans, great, you nailed it. Tuesday is sports day. Wednesday is silly socks and crazy hats. That is a mask day, so they're welcome to wear the silly socks. The teachers, especially Miss Citron, will ask them to keep those hats off. Thursday is spirit day. That's also 8th grade versus staff basketball game. So if you're an 8th grade parent and you'd like to come to that, it's going to be super ugly. You're welcome to come. Friday is cozy day. And this has we did this event last year for the first time. It was fabulous. It's going to be fabulous again. Multicultural night. I don't know if it's Davina here tonight. I don't know if she's here tonight, but and Renee is coaching at Blanchette Wrestling. But they're hosting this. They're their volunteer chairs on this, and bring any food that you'd like to provide. Could be something from your cultural heritage or just something that you really like to make at home to share. And that will be over in the Wilson Room, the Family Center at 5:30. It's just a way of celebrating Catholic Schools Week. And Jenna, did you want to say something about the auction?
I do.
You want to come up
Can I
here?
stand up? Okay, first of all, I have some signature cocktail if you'd like to try some. George is sick and tired of tasting it every week. He's like, I'm done. So this is for you. We're really excited for this auction. Seriously, it's fantastic. I was at Bob Johnson Pharmacy earlier today. Man commented on my St. Al sweatshirt. So I invited everybody, Bob Johnson Pharmacy today. Our auction. And apparently one of the gals working back there, the pharmacy tech, is she goes, I'm a St. Al's alum. So it's out there. Buy your tickets now. Otherwise you sneeze, you lose me. Then this is all for me. And also parking spot will be available for the first time in 3 years. Outbid each other, get that parking spot there. It's worth its weight in gold when they sell Christmas trees in the lot. Exciting. So thank you again. If you have any questions, ask me a drop off. I'm always here.
Jenna's going to put on an awesome party. You don't want to miss it. And lastly, barbecuing Hamlet. I didn't even know this was a thing. Kind of knew Hamlet, not really, but barbecuing Hamlet is going to be April 24th through 26th. We have 40 kids who are turning out for cast and crew for this because Momershawn's amazing. Kids do the sound, the light, production, everything. It's going to be great. So get your tickets early when that comes out. But just encourage if you've got younger students, have them please show up to that because this really has become a hallmark of our school and we want them to have exposure to it. We're at 8:12. Yeah, that's a throwback. I'd like to field some questions if you have any. Again, you saw Eric's going to be at the cheese station, but if there's any questions you have for me right now, I'd be happy to answer. Yes, Olivia.
Do you have any flyers for the upcoming open house? I want to take some of them and kind of put them in my neighbor's mailbox. Okay, yeah, because lots of kids. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just noticed that there's a children's convention going on February 25th next month on the calendar. Just wondering if you could bit more about what that would entail.
Yes, great question. Yes, we do have every Lent. So Lent is coming up. Does anyone remember when Ash Wednesday is? February 18th. So during this 40-day season of Lent, if your student is Catholic and prepared to go to confession, Father Parish and probably a number of other priests will be hearing confessions. Last year, we put them in different places in the school, and our teachers did a good job just reminding them how to go to confession. If your student's not Catholic, but would like to talk to the priest, they're more than welcome to do that. It is not something we're forcing upon your kids. We're going to give them a couple days so they know what's going on and how to just kind of do a proper examination of conscience and be ready to go. Anything else? Thank you so much for being here. I know it's late and I can't thank you enough for just the support that you've given to our school. Please just keep Ms. Delgado in your prayers. She's just dealing with some health issues right now. We hope to have her back in a couple of weeks. But please keep her in your prayers. And then I will be gone probably sometime in February for, I don't know how long, but maybe number 2 is going to be here shortly. So I'll miss you all. And the last thing again, just to reiterate, we all have belief in St. Al's, and I can't impress upon enough just when that belief kind of turns into action and community, it's infectious. And a number of you who are sitting here, and this is your first day of the school, you are here because you've been infected by the St. Al's enthusiasm. And let's just keep that ripple effect going. 200 kids next year and beyond. Right. Ms. Murphy, last thing.
Real quick, I want everyone to know you will be receiving an email from me tomorrow, probably night, with all of that information about Catholic schools. All of the links and all of everything, what dates went, and that way you will know. And then I will endeavor to also send a flyer home on Friday. That's not a promise.
All right. Have a great night, everybody.